Hi, I'm Martha. At 16, most of my friends were planning summer road trips and part-time jobs at the mall. Me? I was scrubbing toilets at the Sunrise Inn while my younger brother Jake boarded a first-class flight to Italy. You missed a spot, Mom said, pointing to a corner of the bathroom floor at the hotel she managed. Her crisp manager's uniform contrasted sharply with my stained cleaning smock. I've been at this for 6 hours, Mom. My back is killing me, I said, pushing damp hair from my forehead. Character building, she replied, checking her clipboard. Jake needs this European experience for his college applications. The hotel can't pay for both of you to have luxuries. So I get to build character while Jake builds his resume? I leaned against the bathtub. Mom's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiling. It's your brother. He's landed in Rome. She turned the screen, showing Jake's grinning face in what looked like a private airport lounge, captioned, "First class was awesome. Thanks, Mom and Dad." Must be nice, I muttered. Martha, please. Not everyone gets the same opportunities in life. Jake shows exceptional promise. His teachers say, my teachers say I'm exceptional too. My voice echoed against the tile. I have better grades than him. I'm in advanced classes while he's barely passing. Dad appeared in the doorway, his hotel maintenance uniform splattered with paint. What's all the shouting about? Martha's complaining about work again, Mom sighed. I'm complaining about fairness, I corrected. Jake gets a European vacation while I'm working minimum wage. Dad crossed his arms. Your brother needs cultural exposure for his future. He's going to be something special. And I'm not? The words hung between us. Martha, honey, Mom's voice softened artificially. Jake has a natural talent we need to nurture. You're practical, dependable. The hotel business will always be here for you. What talent exactly? I pressed, my hands gripping the mop handle tightly. He barely maintains a C average while I'm in line for valedictorian. Dad stepped forward. That's different. Jake's talents are less academic. He's got people skills, charisma. So I get punished for being smart and hardworking? I asked incredulously. Nobody's punishing you, Mom insisted, her voice rising. We're preparing you for the real world. By exploiting my labor and showing blatant favoritism? The words burst out before I could stop them. Dad's face darkened. That's enough, Martha. Finish these rooms and then you can leave. My friend Liv texted. Still on for studying tonight? Can I go to Liv's to study? I asked, already untying my apron. I have finals tomorrow. You haven't finished your shift, Mom protested. It's already 2 hours past when you said I could leave. I have an AP physics exam that's worth 30% of my grade. This hotel puts food on our table, Dad said sternly. Family comes first. Except when it's my needs versus Jake's, I replied, walking out despite their objections. At Liv's house, I collapsed on her bed while she organized study materials. You look like you've been hit by a truck, Liv observed, handing me a soda. 6 hours of cleaning, 0 breaks, I said. Meanwhile, Jake just landed in Italy. First class. Liv's eyebrows shot up. For real? They paid for that while making you work? Dad says Jake needs cultural exposure for his future. I mimicked his voice. That's seriously messed up, Liv said, sitting beside me. Have you ever just, asked them why they treat you guys so differently? They say he's special and I'm practical. I scrolled through Jake's Instagram, already filled with Italian monuments. That's garbage, Liv declared. You're literally in the running for valedictorian. Tell that to my parents, I sighed. What would happen if you just stopped working at the hotel? Liv asked, tapping her pencil against her textbook. They'd probably ground me forever. Or worse, cut off my college fund. What little exists of it. Do you even get regular paychecks? She pressed. I laughed bitterly. Sometimes, when they remember. Usually it's just room and board and empty promises about saving for my future. Liv's mother, Miss Chen, appeared with snacks. Martha, how are you, sweetheart? Before I could answer, Liv blurted, her parents are making her scrub hotel rooms while her brother flies first class to Italy. Miss Chen, a family lawyer, frowned. They're making you work at their hotel? Are you getting paid properly? Barely minimum wage, I admitted, when they remember to pay me. And how old is Jake? She asked, suddenly professional. 15, a year younger than me. Miss Chen sat down, her expression serious. Martha, there are labor laws about minors working, especially family businesses. Would you mind if I asked you some more questions? What exactly would I need to prove? I asked Miss Chen the next day in her home office. Liv sat beside me for moral support. Several things, Miss Chen explained, opening a folder. Hours worked, compensation received, your age when you started, educational impact. I started working weekends when I was 14, I said. Full summers since 15. And Jake? Has he ever worked at the hotel? Never. Not once. Not even folding towels or helping at the front desk? Miss Chen asked, making careful notes. Literally nothing, I confirmed. Dad says hotel work would crush his spirit and waste his potential. Miss Chen's eyebrows rose. Did he actually say those words? Multiple times, I said grimly. Meanwhile, I'm missing study sessions and extracurriculars because someone needs to cover housekeeping shifts. Do you have any documentation, pay stubs, schedules, text messages about work? I pulled out my phone. I have texts from Mom asking me to come in, and I've kept a journal recording my hours since last year. Smart girl, Miss Chen nodded approvingly. Martha, what you're describing could constitute labor violations and potentially educational neglect. I never thought of it as neglect, I said quietly. I just thought they favored Jake. Showing extreme preferential treatment while exploiting your labor crosses legal lines, she explained. Have you discussed this with your parents directly? 1,000,000 times. They just say I'm being dramatic. Miss Chen frowned. Would you be comfortable gathering more evidence? Screenshots, recordings of conversations about your work? Is that legal? I asked. In this state, yes. Single-party consent for recordings. Liv squeezed my hand. I'll help. I can take photos when I visit the hotel. I need to think about this, I said. They're still my parents. Of course, Miss Chen said gently. This is entirely your decision. What would happen? To my parents, I mean? I asked hesitantly. That depends on how we proceed, Miss Chen explained. Our goal wouldn't be punishment, but correction. They would need to provide back pay, adjust your working conditions to legal standards, and address the disparity in support between you and your brother. They'd be furious, I whispered. Initially, perhaps, Miss Chen acknowledged. But Martha, what they're doing isn't just unfair, it's illegal. Sometimes parents need a wake-up call to see their children clearly. Later that week, I was back at the hotel. Mom assigned me a full section of rooms while she chatted with Jake on FaceTime. The Coliseum was sick, Jake's voice echoed from her phone. Dad, you would love the architecture here. Dad leaned over Mom's shoulder. Taking lots of pictures, son? Tons. Oh, and I met this Italian family at dinner. They're taking me sailing tomorrow. That's wonderful, Mom beamed. We're so proud of you exploring like this. I quietly recorded the conversation while folding towels nearby. Hey, is Martha there? Jake suddenly asked. Mom turned the phone toward me. Say hi to your brother in Rome. Hi, I said flatly. You should see this place. Jake grinned. Maybe next year you can come too. With what money? I couldn't help asking. I make $7 an hour here. Mom shot me a warning look. Martha's being dramatic again. I'm being realistic, I corrected. Jake gets Rome, I get room 237's clogged toilet. Dad took the phone. We'll call you back, son. Enjoy your day. After disconnecting, Dad turned to me. Why do you always have to ruin things? By stating facts, Jake's trip cost thousands. Meanwhile, I worked 20 hours overtime last month and still haven't been paid. We're investing in his future, Mom insisted. What about mine? The hotel business will always be here for you, Dad repeated his familiar line. I don't want the hotel business, I said clearly. I want equal treatment and legal pay. Legal pay? Dad's face darkened. What are you talking about? I've been documenting my hours and pay. Miss Chen says it violates labor laws. You talked to Liv's mother about our family business? Mom's voice rose sharply. I talked to her about how you treat me versus Jake? This is ridiculous, Dad snapped. We've given you everything. Everything except what you give Jake, I replied. I'm not asking for Italy. I'm asking for fairness. You have a roof over your head, food on the table, Dad began. Those are parental obligations, not special favors, I interrupted. And making me work illegally to earn them while Jake gets everything handed to him isn't right. Mom's face paled. You're not seriously considering taking legal action against your own parents? I'm seriously considering standing up for myself, I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. The question is whether you'll listen before it comes to that. 2 weeks later, I sat in Miss Chen's office with a folder of evidence, my work journals, text messages, pay calculations showing underpayment, and recordings of my parents discussing work expectations. This is substantial, Miss Chen said, reviewing the materials. Martha, we have options here. What kind of options? I asked nervously. We could file a formal complaint with labor authorities, she began. Or we could approach your parents with this evidence and negotiate. Negotiate what? Back pay, educational support equal to what they provide Jake, and fair treatment going forward. I thought about Jake, still posting from Italy. Would my brother be involved? This isn't about punishing your brother, Miss Chen clarified. It's about your parents fulfilling their legal obligations to both children equally. After considering carefully, I decided to confront my parents with Miss Chen present. We arranged to meet at her office. What is this about, Martha? Mom demanded as they entered. We've been worried sick. I've been staying at Liv's, I explained. I needed space to think. Dad noticed Miss Chen. Why is she here? This is a family matter. I've asked Miss Chen to help me communicate some concerns, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Martha has documented serious issues regarding her employment at your hotel, Miss Chen began professionally. Employment? Mom scoffed. She helps out with the family business. I have records showing Martha has worked over 1,000 hours in the past year, Miss Chen continued, often during school hours, with inconsistent and below minimum wage compensation. Dad's face reddened. This is absurd. We're teaching her responsibility. By paying her illegally while sending her brother on international vacations? Miss Chen asked calmly. Our children have different needs, Mom insisted. The law doesn't see it that way, Miss Chen replied. Minor employment regulations apply equally regardless of family relationships. Are you threatening us? Dad stood up. I'm informing you of Martha's rights, Miss Chen corrected, and offering a path to resolution that doesn't involve authorities. I just want to be treated fairly, I said, finally finding my voice. I want the same opportunities as Jake. I want proper pay for my work. I want you to support my future, too. We've always supported you, Mom protested. With what? I asked. When's the last time you came to one of my academic competitions? Or helped with my college research? Or gave me a day off when I was exhausted from school and work? The room fell silent. We had no idea you felt this way, Dad finally said. I've been telling you for years, I replied. You just never listened. So what do you want? Mom asked, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. Money? I want to be your daughter, not your employee, I said, tears threatening. I want you to be as excited about my future as you are about Jake's. I want to be valued for who I am, not what I can do for the hotel. Dad looked down at his hands. We thought we were doing what was best. For Jake, I corrected. Not for me. We can discuss changes, Mom offered tentatively. Adjust your hours. It goes beyond hours, Miss Chen interjected. This is about equal parental support. What specifically are you asking for? Dad asked, his businessman side emerging. I took a deep breath. Back pay for all my work at legal rates, a college fund equal to what you've set aside for Jake, Reasonable, documented work hours that don't interfere with my education, and the same opportunities and support you give him. Dad began to protest. Less than you'd face if this went to court, Miss Chen finished calmly. 3 months later, I started my senior year with a very different arrangement. The legal settlement had included back pay for all my hotel work, a college fund equal to Jake's, and proper employment terms for my reduced hours at the hotel. Jake returned from Italy with souvenirs for everyone and a strange new perspective. "I don't get why you made such a big deal about everything," he said while we worked on homework together, a new development. "Would you have wanted to clean rooms while I went to Italy?" I challenged. He considered this. "No way, but I didn't ask for special treatment." "You didn't have to," I pointed out. "That's what privilege looks like." "I'm trying to understand," he said, looking genuinely confused. "I just wanted equal treatment," I replied. "It shouldn't have taken legal action to get it." "Do you hate me for it?" he asked suddenly, looking younger than his 15 years. "I don't hate you, Jake. I was jealous and hurt, but it wasn't your fault. It was Mom and Dad's choices. They always made it seem like I was doing something special by just existing," he admitted, "while you were actually accomplishing things. Maybe Italy gave you perspective, or maybe watching your sister stand up to our parents showed what real courage looks like." The school year progressed with remarkable changes. Dad hired proper cleaning staff for the hotel. Mom attended my academic decathlon. Both parents began counseling to address their favoritism. Miss Chen became a mentor, guiding me through college applications. "Have you decided what to study?" she asked during one of our sessions. "Pre-law," I answered without hesitation. "I want to help people stand up for themselves." "You'll be excellent. You've certainly had practical experience." "I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually grateful for what happened," I admitted. "Not the unfairness, but the chance to find my voice. Sometimes the hardest challenges point us toward our true path," Miss Chen observed. "But don't forget, you did the work. You kept records, gathered evidence, and spoke your truth." On my 18th birthday, my parents surprised me with a plane ticket to Florence, Italy. "It's not the same as Jake's trip," Mom explained hastily. "It's just spring break, not a whole summer. But it's a start." I studied their anxious faces. "Thank you. This means a lot." "We're trying, Martha," Dad said quietly. "We didn't realize how unfair we'd been." "I know," I acknowledged. "I don't need identical experiences to Jake's. I just needed you to value my future, too." Later, Liv and I celebrated at her house with Miss Chen making her famous dumplings. "So, Italy?" Liv grinned. "Pretty amazing turnaround." "It's not about the trip," I said. "It's about being seen, valued." Miss Chen joined us. "The most important thing you've gained isn't material, Martha. It's your voice. You spoke up for yourself when it was difficult." "And now I want to help others do the same," I replied, thinking about my future in law. That night, I added a final entry to the journal that had started as work records and became something more. "Hi, I'm Martha. At 18, I learned that fairness isn't always given. Sometimes it must be claimed. The journey wasn't about revenge, but recognition. Not about getting even, but getting heard. My story isn't finished, but at least now I'm the one writing it."